show of hands first. How many of you all had a cup of coffee today? Okay, and keep your hands raised if you had already more than 3 cups of coffee. Wow, so you're all awake for my session then, right? And anyone who is having coffee machine at home? Okay, now imagine you're buying a coffee machine from a company or a brand that not just sells you a coffee machine, but also tells you how to use it, also shares tips and tricks from other coffee enthusiasts, as well as, proactively reminds you about descaling, also tells you when your favorite beans are in sale, as well as give you some, recommendation of coffee recipes and brew based on similar customers, what they love, right? And this is exactly what AI agents are making possible, helping brands truly understand and anticipate your needs and provide end-to-end product experience so that the customers like you and me naturally keep coming back to them. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Firdousi. I'm Senior Enterprise Solutions Architect at Amazon Web Services. And I have over a decade experience in large-scale commerce and supply chain solutions. And in my role, I support our customers in driving tangible business value using our latest cloud, AI, ML, and data technologies. And in next 45 minutes today, we'll explore how you can build and scale an AI agent ecosystem across your business using Amazon Bedrock. And this is the agenda for today. We'll start by looking at some trends and challenges of AI agents and how Bedrock simplifies those challenges. And then we'll look at some high-impact use cases of agentic AI and also go through step-by-step builds demo of how you can build one of those using Bedrock, and then how you can scale your agentic AI ecosystems with built-in security controls, and finally, share you some key takeaways to help you get started. Okay? Okay, so I'm assuming all of us in the room have heard about AI agents, right? And the buzz around AI agents have actually exploded in past years. There are headlines everywhere on how agentic AI is set to change how businesses operate. But let's just break it down in simple terms. What are these AI agents? Unlike traditional AI chatbots, these autonomous agents can understand context, reason, and also perform actions independently to achieve a specific business goal. In fact, the potential impact of AI agent transformation is massive. Gartner predicts that by 2028, almost 1/3 of all enterprise applications will include agentic AI. And 15% of everyday business decisions will be made autonomously by agentic AI. And in fact, early results show that these AI-driven decision-making can drive almost up to 5% sales, which is a lot if you really look in the numbers, and also improve the profit margins. Well, these numbers are fancy. However, a lot of time, companies face several challenges when they try to build a production-ready AI agents. Starting with development teams, they are overwhelmed by this complex technology stack and infrastructure setup, and then operationally, managing multiple agents and also automating complex workflows is often challenging. And security and compliance requirements add another layer of complexity. And the rapidly evolving technology makes it hard to keep these production systems current and up to date. And all this hinders your ability to innovate. And although these challenges sound daunting, they do highlight a very important question. How can companies leverage AI agents without getting overwhelmed by this complexity? And this brings us to Amazon Bedrock. At AWS, we offer a layered generative AI stack for builders of all levels of expertise. Starting at the bottom layer, you get the most high-performant and cost-effective infrastructure that has been optimized to help you build and train your own AI models. And then in the middle layer, you have Amazon Bedrock that gives you choice of models and tools to easily build your own generative AI applications. And the top, you get generative AI-powered assistance for your day-to-day work, like Amazon Q for the business side, for report generation and stuff, and Amazon Q Developer for software development to boost your productivity. And we know that there are these new models coming up in the market almost every day, right? And companies really need to be able to choose what makes sense for them right now, with the possibility of changing that later. And so Bedrock simplifies this model selection process by giving you access to high-quality AI models from companies like Anthropic, Meta, Llama, etc., all available through a single unified API and always updated to the latest versions, so that you can quickly evaluate and select the right model with the best ROI for your use case, with the obviously possibility to switch as you need. You also, oh, sorry, maybe I went ahead. Yeah, a little bit about Amazon Bedrock, a bit more, is that Amazon Bedrock actually simplifies building and scaling your generative AI applications through some core set of capabilities. First, you get the choice of models with different cost performance and different consumption mode, so that you can balance between latency, cost, and accuracy. Then you can easily customize them with your data, as well as seamlessly integrate with your existing company systems and APIs to automate through agents. And finally, you also get this built-in security and responsible AI controls. And here I was talking about the models from leading startups. Sorry, I messed up the sequence. So these are a lot of models already available, but you can also get access to over 100 specialized and emerging models that's coming up every day through Bedrock Marketplace, as well as fine-tune them to your needs, or even bring your own custom model on this end-to-end Bedrock ecosystem. In addition to the third-party models, we also have our own Amazon Nova Foundation models for text generation with multiple modalities, content generation, as well as speech understanding. And these are state-of-the-art models that can deliver up to 75% lower cost while making this AI affordable and powerful. Again, the important thing to note here is you have the choice to choose any model from any provider. Now let's go ahead and understand how you can use these capabilities to build an AI agent. And this brings us to the star of the show today, which is Amazon Bedrock Agents, which is our fully managed solution that comes with inbuilt foundation model orchestration and security controls to make it simple to build and scale reliable AI agents. With Bedrock, you simply state the problem, and it automatically breaks down the problem into multiple steps. It automatically figures out what information it needs, what API and tools to execute, and when to execute them, and then executes the transactions in the right sequence to complete a request. And all of this while maintaining privacy and security of your data. Now, Bedrock gives you native foundational building blocks for end-to-end functionality that simplifies creating these agents. So first, what you do is you define a Bedrock agent, and here you have choice of models that has been optimized for reasoning and planning with different cost performance. Then you define tools and resources, such as knowledge base for your company data, action groups for API actions, as well as other tools for computations, and open source protocols like MCP for getting access to a lot of external tools. And Bedrock comes with inbuilt session state and long-term memory retention that basically allows for multi-turn conversation and maintaining context across those. When it comes to orchestration, here you can leverage the built-in multi-agent collaboration capability to automate complex business process across multiple agents. And then you can also use inline agent that allows you as a developer to configure these AI agents dynamically at runtime and their tools. And with custom orchestration logic, you can have overall control of how these agents perform multi-step tasks and make decisions, let's say, for your specific use case. And finally, you can also integrate these Bedrock agents into a more structured workflow, either within your existing workflows or use Bedrock flows for orchestration. But you can easily integrate them in. Next, Bedrock also gives you detailed trace, debug, and observability tools to continuously monitor and improve your agent performance. Because, these AI agents are not going to perform the same all the time, and you need to have visibility of that. And this gives you detailed view into, why an agent performs a specific task and what actions they take. And finally, with built-in guardrails, enterprise-grade security controls, and infrastructure as a code, you can confidently deploy these AI agents at scale. OK, so let's now quickly have a look at some of the top use cases where AI agents are creating the most impact. As we work with different companies, we hear AI agents creating impact in two significant areas. One is enhancing customer engagement, and obviously driving operational efficiency. And if we look at the customer engagement, here you can think about when you are browsing a product or a solution, AI agents can create engaging product descriptions and images, helping you find exactly what you are looking for. Intelligent AI assistants can understand your preferences using natural language and provide personalized recommendations and even complete the transaction autonomously on your behalf. Next, the marketing messages are hyper-personalized, tailored to your interest, and then delivered through your preferred channels. And whether you are engaging online, in person, or in app, these AI agents ensure you get consistent experience across all the touch points. And when you need help, the customer support agents handle inquiries while remembering your past interactions to provide that consistent service so that you don't have to repeat yourself all the time. And finally, AI agents can also analyze customer sentiment and feedback across multiple sources, helping organizations, refine their offerings. And this is how you can transform your customer engagement to a more personalized experiences, right? And this is what is going to foster loyalty and also drive business growth. OK, so with this, let's go ahead and see how you can build one of these using Bedrock. Before that, I have a question. Has any one of you recently used like an AI assistant or a chatbot to find a gift for someone or, compare any products for yourself? Yeah, some of you. I actually have been comparing some air fryers for myself. Haven't really decided to buy one. But conversational AI is really, transforming the whole shopping experience for the consumers. Let's go ahead and see how you can build one of those using Bedrock. So for that, we will actually navigate to Amazon Bedrock console. This is our UI. And here, first you need to request access to the model that you're going to use from here. And once you have the access granted to any of the models that you saw earlier, you can then navigate to the agents menu on the left and click on Create Agent. Let's give it a name, Any Company Shopping Assistant, and click on Create. And here, I'm going to use the default role for access management. And then in the model, we'll go ahead and choose Claude 3.5 Haiku. You can choose 3.5 Sonnet or any other model that gives even stronger cognitive performance. We'll keep it Haiku. And click on Apply. Next, you need to provide instructions to the agents. And here you can, for example, give a role to your assistant, how it should sound like, an objective, as well as step-by-step instructions to further augment LLM's reasoning capability. Expand additional settings. And here you can also enable code interpreter. Let's say if you want your agent to do some lightweight computations, some calculations and stuff, right? I don't need it. But we will go ahead and enable the user input because this will allow our assistant to ask clarifying questions to the customer if needed. Scroll up, click on Save. Now, this agent is created. Next, to give my shopping assistant ability to search for products, I have used knowledge bases for Amazon Bedrock, which basically automates the entire RAG workflow from ingesting your company data or third-party data to embedding the documents and then retrieving them and augmenting in the prompt And all of this, without you have to write any custom code. It's completely managed. And with knowledge base, you also get advanced retrieval techniques for all the different types of data, such as unstructured like documents and PDF, as well as multimodal data like combining tables and images with the text. You can also do natural language query to structured database and warehouses. And this is also, you get a special connector for it, so you don't have to, and it's optimized for NL to SQL. Then you can also store the graph relationships across data sources in order to get that holistic understanding of the context, so that your knowledge retrieval can be much more accurate. And finally, you can also re-rank the retrieved documents in order for context relevance, as well as improved accuracy of the responses. Now for the, again, forgot to click, but these are the 4 options that I was talking about. From unstructured, structured, graph rag, as well as re-ranking of API. And for product search, what I did is I simply uploaded the product details file in Amazon S3 bucket, which is our object storage. Again, here you have a lot of connectors to Confluence, Salesforce, SharePoint. You can use from many different data sources, right? And like I said, different kinds of data that you can ingest. Next, I used the default chunking strategy, like how should the documents be chunked before embedding, which is 300 tokens as default. You can use hierarchical chunking or even semantic or bring your own custom. And then Bedrock did rest of the job of converting this text information into embeddings using the chosen embedding model and storing it into the vector database for similarity and keyword search. Here again, you have an option to choose between Titan and Cohere multilingual, especially if you're looking for Swedish, right? In the embeddings model. And then for vector store, you have many different options like MongoDB, Redis, pgvector, and so on. So this is how I created the knowledge base. Let's go ahead and associate this knowledge base to our Bedrock agent that we created earlier. So here we'll go back to the console, and we'll scroll down to the knowledge base section and click on Add. I'm going to select the product details knowledge base I created and give basic instruction. This will help our assistant understand when to leverage it. And then click on Add and save. Now to test this agent, you need to prepare it by clicking on Prepare button. Now you can actually go ahead and directly test this agent from the console itself. But let's first understand what's exactly happening when you associate the knowledge base. So now when a customer sends a product search query, my agent will automatically build the base prompt using the agent instructions, the conversation history, as well as information about the tools such as product knowledge base. And then using chain of thought, it breaks down the request into a sequence of steps and comes up with the orchestration plan to execute those steps. So first, it will parse the instructions to identify the next step, and then it will invoke an action to search the products in the knowledge base using the similarity search. And then the agent generates an output, also known as observation, from the search results, and uses that information to augment the prompt back, right? And then the model again parses the response after every step to determine the next step. And this whole process of the thought, action, observation continues until the agent has executed all the steps required to complete the task, or if it needs to ask additional input to the customer and returns the response back. Now to demonstrate this, yeah?
Sure. Is all of this audible? Can I see everything going on step by step on console side?
I'm going to show next. Sorry. That's what. So to demonstrate this, I have actually built this beautiful app. You can also do it from the console, as I mentioned, but I've built this app, which is using AWS SDK to invoke the Bedrock Agent API. OK, so that's my shopping assistant. You know what? I'm actually going to move an apartment this summer. So let's go ahead and maybe find something to help my move. Let's say I want to say moving to new apartment, so some furniture. OK, here you can see the assistant came up with some bedroom and living room furnitures, as well as here are the products from the catalog that it has recommended, sofas and dresses. But The question is, I never told the assistant what furniture I want. So how did it really, give me these recommendations? And to understand the agent thought process, Bedrock gives you a detailed trace of the execution, also known as chain of thought. And this gives you visibility into, agent's reasoning on why and how it performs the task step by step. So let's go ahead and have a look at the execution trace. So here in the trace, you can see the shopping assistant interpreted my input as finding essential furniture that's typically needed when moving to a new place. It then came up with a query to search the knowledge base for vector similarity. By default, it returns 5 documents. You can change this number. It again performed another search for additional furnitures like sofas and beds, and finally consolidated this information and returned the final response. And on the top, you can see the total number of LLM calls, input and output tokens used, operation cost, as well as execution time for this entire agent operation. And all this is available through observability, so you can calculate that at the runtime, right? This is great, a normal chatbot that is searching using RAG. But what if I want the assistant to also place the order on my behalf, performing an action? And actually, here we are witnessing an evolution from a simple conversational AI to intelligent shopping assistants that can predict and act on your needs. So in our case, for a shopping assistant to be able to really create or place orders, it needs access to additional tools, such as checking the product availability, creating the order, as well as sending email confirmations, right? And this is where it gets interesting, because adding too many responsibilities and tools to the same agent can actually lead to decrease in performance and accuracy. So how do you solve this? Instead, what you can do is you can use the Amazon Bedrock's fully managed multi-agent collaboration capability to utilize specialized agents that work within their domain expertise, coordinated by a supervisor agent in order to automate complex workflows. And in fact, our internal benchmarking, because we use a lot of AI agents ourselves within the company, has shown that this approach leads to much more higher task success rate, accuracy, as well as boost efficiency through parallel processing. And so in our case, our shopping assistant can actually act as a supervisor agent, which will use the inbuilt intent classifier to route the request to the correct collaborator agent. For example, product discovery for recommending products, and order management to actually place the orders. And to enable our order management agent to place orders, you need to define necessary API actions. And here you can create an action group with API schema and a function to implement them. Now, in the respect of time, I've actually already created an order management agent with action group, but we'll have a look at it. So here you can see create order actions. And here you can see you can define action group in 2 ways, either with function details or API schema. And if you choose to define with function details, you can actually specify the function and its parameter from directly within the agent. I'm going to use the API schema because it's quite normal to do that. And here, to execute the action, there are multiple options. I've used existing Lambda function. This third option is very interesting, return control. What it does is, it gives you as a developer control back to your existing application to execute the action instead of using Lambda function. So you can really integrate with your existing apps, either on-prem or on cloud. And also with this, you can start long-running jobs or start parallel jobs asynchronously while continuing the orchestration flow. I have selected a Lambda function for now, which is a serverless function on AWS. In API schema, I specified endpoints for creating a new order, sending an email confirmation, as well as checking the product inventory details by product ID. Next, I've also modified our shopping assistant that we created earlier to act as a supervisor agent. So here I'm giving the role and objective, and also instructions to coordinate the sub-agents now, this time. And if you scroll down to multi-agent collaboration, you just have to enable it. And here, you can see in the collaboration configuration, you have two modes. One is supervisor mode, and one is supervisor with routing mode. So with routing mode, the supervisor agent will directly route the request to the sub-agents for simple request. And with supervisor mode or complex queries, the supervisor agent itself will analyze, break down the problem, and coordinate multiple agents either in parallel or sequence to complete the request. And here you can see I've associated my two sub-agents, product discovery and order management. For each sub-agent, you specify the name and basic instructions that will help my supervisor agent classify the intent for routing that we saw earlier in the architecture. I've also enabled conversation history sharing, so this will allow my supervisor agent to pass the full context of the user interactions to all the sub-agents so that there is a coherence across the multiple interactions. And that's it. Our multi-agent collaboration is ready, and you can add as many sub-agents you want here to create that network, right? Now, let's go ahead and place some order. I actually like the stylish gray sofa, so let's go ahead and buy this one. So we'll click on buy for me, and here I've pre-populated the shipping address, so I'll just go ahead and click on submit. And in just few seconds, the order has been successfully placed and an email confirmation sent to John Doe. That's great, but let's see what's really happening, right? On the right side, in the graph summary, you can see the agent as well as tools that were used to place the order. And in the trace execution, you can see the supervisor agent classified the intent for order management agent, which then checks if the product is available in the stock using the inventory endpoint that I gave earlier. And once it sees the product is in stock, it now goes ahead and creates an order using the create order endpoint that we gave earlier. Now here you can see there was some error. So the agent self-adjusted the items to be in the proper JSON and again called the create order endpoint. And this time the order was successfully created, so it now sends the order confirmation email using the send email API endpoint. And if you look at this email, this is actually formatted using an email template that I've given the agent instructions. I didn't show you, but it's a part of the orchestration template. And all of this happened in just 24 seconds, if you see at the top, making the entire process so much more efficient and with just a single click of button. Again, you as an organization can decide whether you want to do more or less depending on your business and customer needs, right? Okay, going into the next part. Have you ever got a gift from someone that you felt completely missed the mark because they don't know your interest or anything? It was just useless. Okay, I get that all the time from my relatives, by the way. Sorry for that. I mean, it's frustrating, right? And without any context about what I like, I might not use it. So just like Kenneth Noland, a leading American abstract painter once said, context is a key to understanding of everything. Similarly, in Bedrock Agent, you can use session state to give these foundation models context about the user, the time, the location, and any relevant details that can help your assistant engage in more context-aware conversations and generate personalized responses. And here you have two types of attributes. The session attribute, which persists for the entire duration of the session. So basically, all the requests made with the same session ID. And here you can pass the email address of the customer or even token for the authorization of the API calls, right? And prompt session attributes actually persist over a single turn. So here, for example, when a user asks, I want to book a hotel for tomorrow, this is when you can pass the user's current time zone to the agent so the agent understands what date exactly tomorrow refers to. Otherwise, it will ask the customer, what is tomorrow, right? Or hallucinate. So let's see this in action. So let's say I want to return a previously delivered order that I have. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a persona to my customer, which will be passed as a session state to my agent. And here you can see in the prompt session attributes, I'm passing current date, email, first name, and last name of the customer. And then additionally, I'm also passing username and email address in the session attributes. And this session attributes will be available as the parameters to my Lambda function when they execute an API action. So let's go ahead and say, I want to understand if my order is eligible for return. And here, if you look at the trace, you can see that the Lambda function actually uses the email address from session attributes to get the order details. And then my agent searches the knowledge base for return policy in order to determine if my sunglasses are, within the 30-day return window. And it knows the current date from the prompt session attributes that I sent earlier. As you can see, this makes the entire process so quick and seamless without having to ask too many questions to the customer, right? And actually, I can just go ahead and place the return request. So I have a tools already given to my assistant for that. And here you can see it has successfully placed the order and a confirmation email set. And on the right side, the graph is really small, but basically I've added another customer support agent to my multi-agent collaboration of shopping assistant. So it does everything now. Okay, so we saw how simple it was to build your agent using Bedrock, even multiple agents. And we also heard about some of the customer engagement use cases. Let's look a bit around increasing operational efficiency. And by the way, this is where I am seeing most of the companies make the most impact, actually. So for example, AI agents can automate complex workflows from fraud detection to supply chain management or even regulatory compliance. And then they can also analyze real-time market conditions to help you optimize critical business decisions and come up with pricing strategies that prevent revenue leakage and help you maximize your margins, right? Then for your operations, the AI agents can automate end-to-end processes from predictive maintenance to quality control, as well as scheduling workforce tasks. Next, it also continuously monitors competitor activity, helping you turn the industry challenges into opportunities. And across your organizations, AI agents can also boost your team's productivity by automating routine IT and development processes, as well as accelerating software development. And when it comes to business performance, AI agents can analyze massive amount of data in order to surface actionable insights and generate detailed reports for faster decision making. So these are some of the use cases on how AI agents can help your team focus on high-value activities that actually drives your business growth. Let's go ahead and look at another example here. Has anyone of you recently created an HR ticket to know maybe policy about your company or vacation days or anything? And how long does it take to get the response? Typically in an organization, it can take from a day up to a week, right? Depending on the complexity. So let's go ahead and see how AI agents can transform this experience, really providing that instant 24/7 employee support. Again, these are the tasks that your HR does every day on repetition without adding any value to the company, right? So these are the kind of processes you really want to automate. Now, to help employee search for company policy, inquire about vacation, or even create budget approval, your HR assistant will need access to various tools, such as employee manual knowledge base, as well as get or create vacation or process bill API actions. And if a manager is accessing this assistant, they will even need additional access to the tools, such as manager manual knowledge base, as well as API actions for compensation review and updates, right? So how can our HR assistant adapt its capabilities based on who is asking? And this can be achieved through what we call as Bedrock Inline Agent, which gives you the flexibility to dynamically configure your agents at runtime. Unlike the static agents that we saw earlier, these dynamic agents can adapt their behavior tools and knowledge based on who is using them. And this is perfect for role-based and subscription-based scenarios, like if you're making a software as a service application and so on, right? Let's quickly have a look at the demo. So here, when I log in as an employee, you can see I can select a specific persona for my assistant. You can also select from the choice of foundation models. I'm going to keep it Nova Pro. And let's go ahead and select all the tools available for employee and click on apply. And here I'm going to now ask that I want to book 2-day vacation next week. And in just a few seconds, as you can see, my 2-day leave request is approved, and it also tells me the number of vacation days remaining. Now let's log into as a manager. So here, as a manager, you can see it has access to additional tool for compensation. Let's select that, click on apply. Now I'm going to be a generous manager and give my employee actually 20% raise. I mean, who doesn't like it, right? My manager doesn't give me that much, but. So here you can see now a ticket has been created for the compensation team. So as you can see, the same HR assistant adapts its capabilities based on the logged-in employee's role, right? And this gives you the flexibility to really change your agent configuration without have to redeploy your AI agent, right? And it's a very 3 simple steps to build this inline agent. You first create a simple agent, and then add knowledge bases and action groups with rule-based access control. I'll show you quick steps here. So first, you will import the necessary libraries. We have a Boto3 SDK library from AWS for that. And we are going to also set up the Bedrock agent runtime client for invoking API. Next, I'm going to set up a basic configuration for the agent with the model ID, the session management, as well as agent instruction. You can dynamically adapt the persona of the agent by updating this instruction. And then I'll prepare the agent request parameters that will be used for invoking this agent. Next, I'm going to create the knowledge base using the policy documents that we have. And here you can see you can upload metadata.json files for access level filters. So here for normal HR policy, I have access level basic. For manager, I have access level manager. And then what you need to do is you need to also set up a user profile filter who is logged in that will act as a metadata filter for knowledge base. So here you can see I'm making an access filter with user profile, and then I pass that filter in the knowledge base configuration. And finally, I add the knowledge base to my agent request params. Next, you need to define the tools. So here I'm defining a list of tools with access level, with action groups and API schema like we saw earlier. And then I'm filtering these available tools using the user profile that I've set. And finally, adding the available tools to my agent request params. The last step is to now assign a question, an input text, to my agent request params, and then use the Bedrock runtime client to call the invoke inline agent API, and then finally retrieve the answer from the agent response. So it's as that simple. It's a code-first approach, depending on your use case, which one you want to use. So we have seen how AI agent is really impacting end-to-end value chain for business. Next, let's see how you can now scale these securely, right? And here, Bedrock comes with inbuilt enterprise-grade security and compliance controls. Your data is encrypted and isolated within a virtual private cloud, and none of your data is ever used to train the foundation models. And in Bedrock Agent, every resource have their own IAM rule that either grants or denies access independently, and this is what tells them which knowledge base or what tools they have access to. Addition to that, you can add guardrails using the Bedrock, and here you can modify them based on your application requirements as well as your organization policies, such as filtering of harmful content and toxic content, PII detection, or even automated reasoning for factual checks. And these guardrails can be applied to both input and output of model response. So what you're going to do is, once you create the guardrails, you can assign them to the Bedrock API invocations. So first, the user input will be validated against the guardrails before sending it to model for inference. And even the output of the model is validated against these guardrails in order to avoid hallucination before returning the final response to the customer. Actually, you can also use apply guardrail API for independent evaluation outside Bedrock ecosystem, let's say in your custom workflows. So these are very flexible. You don't have to use it in the Bedrock. And finally, with Bedrock, you can also quickly evaluate your model. And here you get multiple options. One is the programmatic evaluation for quantitative criteria like toxicity, robustness, accuracy. LLM as a judge for qualitative criteria like helpfulness, correctness, contextual relevance, and so on. And also human, a completely managed human workflow for subjective criteria like brand voice, tone. You can also use thumbs up and thumbs down. And as you have already seen, Bedrock also gives you detailed model invocation logs with number of tokens used, latency, response time, errors, and so on through Amazon CloudWatch, which is our logging service. And you can also audit the actions taken on the resources using the CloudTrail services. Again, we are bringing up even more evaluation mechanism for end-to-end agent workflow in future. Okay, so as we come to end, I want to just share some really key takeaways to help you get started. Remember, evolution beats revolution. So start with simple assistants, like chatbots that answer simple queries and actions. Then move towards more deterministic agents where you can automate structured user-defined workloads, like you have a control of the workflow. And then move towards true autonomous agents where the task and execution is determined by the agents at runtime. This is where true business transformation happens, right? Because your agent can adapt based on real-time conditions. Then, looking ahead, we see companies planning for agentic workforce where multiple AI and human agents are going to collaborate across organizational boundaries. The key is to choose a starting point that matches your organization's comfort level with AI autonomy. And all of this must be grounded in strong foundations, ensuring quality of data and accuracy that you give to these LLMs, as well as enforcing guardrails, responsible AI policies. And as we stand at this technological frontier, let me leave you with a vision. The most successful leaders of tomorrow are the ones who can orchestrate this collaboration between AI and human agents. While AI agents excel in automation, providing insights, business leaders like you and me can apply their experience, business context, and ethical decision to make smarter decisions faster. AI doesn't replace human judgment, it augments it. Make it as a partner, right? And these are some QR codes where we have some free courses and hands-on workshop if you want to take a picture of these. Otherwise, I think it will be available as a PDF to you later. And fun thing I just want to also share, Bedrock is also actually integrated with most of the popular open source frameworks like LangChain, Llama Index, and Crew AI, and so on. And we also officially recently released our own open source Python SDK for building multi-agent ecosystem with just few lines of code across any model provider, multi-modalities. And we also give like a powerful set of pre-built tools for automation. And you can deploy them anywhere. I highly recommend you to check this out, especially if you want a bit more control than the Bedrock that we saw earlier. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure presenting in front of you. Hope you get some more information that you had before coming into this session. And have a wonderful day. Thank you.